Hello, and this is In a Pickle with your host Karthik.
And Zach.
And we're here to talk about March Madness. It started, as well as NBA MVP and ETSU men's basketball and ETSU women's basketball. So our first topic we thought we'd talk about today, kind of relevance now that March Madness has started. Do you agree with the one seeds in the tournament?
I like them. I think the committee did a good job with the one seeds. The only one that was a little bit questionable was Duke. They could have also slid Virginia in there because Virginia did win the ACC regular season. Even though they lost in the semifinals, so did Duke. So I think they got a little bit penalized there. But Duke did win the head-to-head against Virginia, and I think that's where the committee was looking on that one.
Here's the problem that I have with the head-to-head. Duke had Rashid Suleiman at the time, no longer on the team. Duke also shot 65% of that game, and Duke is very capable of shooting 65% at any given moment. They are an incredibly talented team. They can shoot from the outside, and they got guys like Jahlil Okafor, Justice Wilson, and Emil Jefferson who can score on the inside. But as far as I'm concerned, now that Justin Anderson's starting to get healthier, he was a little banged up throughout this ACC tournament, just coming back. He had that appendectomy, and then before that he had the broken finger. Now that he's back, you give me these two teams, and you put them side by side, and you put them on the court, and you have them play now, I'll take Virginia. It'll be a close game, but I would take Virginia now. And I think you're right that I think Virginia maybe should have gotten that one line because at the end of the day, they did win the regular season title, and Duke didn't win either the regular season title or the conference tournament. So, Zach, what do you think of Arizona? What do you think? Do you think they should have maybe slid into the one side over Villanova, or what do you think?
I think Arizona fit better as a 2. I don't think they had that wow factor this season, and I think their strength of schedule hurt them a little bit. Not to discount the Pac-12, but I think the ACC was a lot tougher conference this year, and so I think they fit best at the 2.
I agree with you. The 2 is a good spot for them. In the Pac-12 this year, you only had Oregon and then Utah. That was really the only 2 other good teams that were in there. UCLA slid into the NCAA tournament. I'm not buying into UCLA. Should have been in the tournament in the first place. Arizona, I think they are a very talented team, and this kid Stanley Johnson, he is really something to watch. And they play good team ball. They know how to rebound well. They can attack you in a lot of different ways. And I think Arizona is a good team. But I do think they should stay on that 2 line. Their strength of schedule was an 85, and I think Villanova definitely, not by a large margin, but I think they did earn the 1 seed. Playing in the Big East, they played a tough schedule. They also play great team ball. They shoot the ball well. They rebound the ball well. Jay Wright has done a really good coaching job with this team this year. They've had experience, haven't gotten too far in March as of late, but they're turning it on. They're playing good basketball. Only had 2 losses on the season. I'd say Villanova was a good seed for the 1 seed, and I don't think anyone can disagree with Wisconsin or Kentucky getting the 1 seeds, winning both the regular season title and the conference title and tournament title in both their respective conferences.
Absolutely.
So I think those were good choices for the 1 seeds. I don't really have any qualms with it. Duke sitting in the 1 seed line is fine with me. I thought they had a great season. So.
Absolutely.
It's March Madness, and we got a lot of good games to watch. One of them to watch is Butler versus Texas, March 19th at 2:45 p.m. That game will be on CBS. I think this is going to be a really good one. Everyone knows Butler's really good in March. They know how to make the March Madness magic happen, but I think Texas is going to give them a lot of trouble on the inside. Texas, really good. They have a lot of size. They have a lot of depth. They have 8 players that play 20-plus minutes in the game. Butler's biggest player is 6'9", 200 pounds in Cameron Woods, and I honestly think between Ridley, Holmes, and Turner, Texas can really take them out in this one. I look for a Texas upset in this one.
Alrighty. And the next game we have is Arkansas and Wofford. Wofford put together a great season in the Southern Conference, finished with a 16-2 conference record, and obviously winning their tournament against Arkansas, who kind of had an up and down season, but Arkansas plays that up-tempo, full-court press the whole game, scores a lot of points, and I'm looking for that to be a good game as well. Behind Bobby Portis, SEC Player of the Year, this could be a good game. I think Arkansas wins it, but Wofford's definitely a team to watch out for.
I agree with you. I think Bobby Portis is going to have a huge game. Look for him to get a double-double in that one. Next game we have up, Georgetown versus Eastern Washington. Now, a lot of problems with Georgetown. A lot of people thought they were seated too high, but I kind of agree with that, but they did play a pretty difficult schedule. We'll keep them where they are. I guess we can't change it now. But they're going to face a tough Eastern Washington team. Now, Georgetown really good in the paint. They know how to defend well in the paint. This team's got talent. I mean, they're well coached. But let's look at what they've done in recent years when they've entered the tournament. They've only gotten out once out of the round of 64 since 2010, and they ended up losing in the next round to NC State. So they haven't really advanced in a really long time. Coaching's been a problem in March for that team. And then you also have to look at Georgetown 209th in the nation when it comes to opponents' points by three-pointers. Eastern Washington gets nearly 30 points a game from three-pointers. Watch out for Eastern Washington to have a huge game from behind the arc, and get a big victory over Georgetown. Upset Nation.
And the last game we have to look at is LSU and NC State. And that's an 8-9 matchup, and those are always toss-ups. But both of these teams have incredible amounts of talent. LSU, I feel, has underachieved all season, but it's tournament time, so some teams turn it up then, and I'd be looking for them to do that. And NC State has some great wins over UNC, Duke, Louisville. And so this game is a toss-up for me. In my bracket, I have LSU, but either team that wins this game is going to be a very big test for Villanova in the next round, and I'm picking a potential upset there.
I think LSU has a really good chance to beat NC State, but you got to watch out for NC State with these three players. Remember them: Cat Barber, Trevor Lacey, Ralston Turner. Really think three big players that can turn up the scoreboard really high. I predict a lot of lead changes in this one, but I got LSU winning too.
Welcome back to the show. Today now we're going to look at just two teams that we were kind of skeptical about making the tournament, and the first one is UCLA. They only have one win against teams that are in the tournament right now. They had very poor outings against some other ranked teams, not to discount the Pac-12 because they're still a major conference and underrated, but I would have liked to have seen somebody like Temple or Colorado State make it in instead of UCLA at this spot.
I agree, and another team that we thought maybe shouldn't have made it but did make it was Texas. Now, Texas was 3-12 against the RPI top 50, which is not very strong for Texas, especially since they were a preseason ranked high. I know I talked about them and how they could make a push for it later, and they're very capable. But as far as their tournament resume, I'm not very surprised they made it in, but I did think, just like Zach said, I think Colorado State and Temple maybe should have gotten in ahead of them. Of those wins that were against the RPI top 50, though, none of them were on the road, so that's something that really was a shocker for me as well. But I think the thing that really did keep them in, the only one bad loss that they had was against Stanford, and Stanford was in that 51 to 100 RPI range, so it wasn't really a terrible loss for Texas. So even though they didn't have many good wins, they didn't really have any bad losses either, so I think they just kind of stuck in there. Being in a major conference, I think that really helped them too, and that's how they got in a large bid to get into the tournament.
Hey, welcome back to the show. Now we're going to talk about some dark horses from each region in the tournament bracket. In the Midwest, I have Notre Dame as being one of those dark horse teams. They won the ACC Conference Championship, and I think that they have a slightly easier road in. They're going to have the winner of the Butler-Texas game, which we picked as one of our games to watch, which is going to be a tough matchup, whichever team wins that. And then you are more than likely probably going to have to play Kansas. But I actually have Notre Dame going on to upset Kentucky in my bracket, and I think that they're definitely a team to watch.
I got one for you, North Carolina Tar Heels. Now, the North Carolina Tar Heels, a big knock on them this year is that they've been really bad in closing out games. And they have shown that in a lot. The Duke game on the road probably should have closed that one out. They had Louisville on the road. They probably should have closed that one out. Then you saw in the ACC tournament where they should have probably closed out Notre Dame but didn't do it. So what I'm thinking here, though, is Marcus Paige is healthy. And everyone knows when Marcus Paige is healthy, he's a really dangerous player. UNC's starting to shoot the three better. They're starting to look more engaged. Look for them to maybe make a deep push in this one. Their biggest test will come against Wisconsin. And if they can get past Wisconsin, don't turn the ball over. Look out. They might have a Final Four appearance.
And another team to look out for is Iowa State. Now, there's a big knock on them defensively because they're very inconsistent, but they still won the Big 12. And you definitely can't discount that because, in my opinion, the Big 12 was probably the best conference in basketball alongside the ACC this year. And they have a slightly easier part of the bracket with, not to discount Gonzaga by any means, but I think that's, as far as 2 seeds go, I would much rather play Gonzaga than somebody like Virginia or Kansas. And then you have Duke in that bracket, but I also have Iowa State as a Final Four team.
All right, well, I have Michigan State as my final one. Watch out for Tom Izzo ever since he's taken over the helm at Michigan State. 44-18 during NCAA tournament time. Good coaching, a big thing when it comes to March. As well as Michigan State's really started to pick it up lately. They're really getting into teams defensively. They basically had Wisconsin on the ropes yesterday in the Big Ten championship game. If it weren't for Valentine trying to push the issue, throw that ball back down the court and giving it back to Wisconsin, who knows, Michigan State might have come out on top in that game in regulation. So Michigan State, a really good team, as well as you always have to have that big player in March that's going to come up big for you. Valentine has hit some big shots against Ohio State, hit some timely shots against Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship title game. Look out for Michigan State. Let's continue on. We're going to talk about NBA MVP next. But first off, we'd like to thank Hunter Hilton, a good friend of ours. He did the artwork for our show In a Pickle. He did the Twitter page picture as well as our YouTube page picture. So big shout out to Hunter Hilton. You can check out his artwork at www.hunterhilton.com. Dude's got mad art game. And he's got a showing at the Ball Hall Gallery for all those people that go to ETSU. It's this whole week. Go check it out. Reception on Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. So just wanted to give out a good shout out to our friend Hunter Hilton. So now let's talk about NBA MVP. Zach Hudson, who do you got?
So this is a big topic right now, and everybody right now is sold on Russell Westbrook with the way he's been playing. I mean, 6 triple-doubles. You can't discount the guy. He is doing a tremendous effort. But if you also look into the numbers a little bit, I mean, they have a losing record against teams that are projected to be in the playoffs right now. His shooting percentages have gone down. And actually, when he's on the court, they're being outscored by opponents. And when he's off the court, his team is outscoring opponents. And so he's taken a lot of shots, some of which are probably bad. I know he's got to put the team on his back there. But they also haven't improved their playoff seeding. They're still hovering at that 8 spot with New Orleans. And so I think that's going to kind of hurt him right now. I really like the way Steph Curry is playing. Their team has been consistent all season. Yes, he's not put together a ridiculous streak that Russell Westbrook has, but he's played consistent all season. His team is at the top all season, and I just really like the way Steph Curry's shown.
Steph Curry's had a great season. James Harden's also had a great season. Those guys in the conversation, but I like to talk about 2 guys, one of which Zach mentioned, Russell Westbrook. He's amazing. He's had a lot of shots. His shooting percentage has been down, but 6 triple-doubles in 8 games, it's incredible. Only Michael Jordan, the only other player to ever do that in NBA history. So Westbrook has got some mad game. And not only his offense, I mean, he's going up to the rebounding. He's doing it on defense, too. His defense season after season has been great. He's able to steal the ball. Toughest guy, arguably, in the NBA to stop in transition. I mean, the guy's an absolute monster, putting the team on his back. Most valuable player definitely for his team right now with KD out. I just got news this morning that Serge Ibaka is going to have surgery, and who knows how long he's going to be out for. So that's big for Russell Westbrook. Let's see if he can figure it out and keep continuing this gameplay. But the guy that I really want to win this and I really think deserves to win this is Anthony Davis. Okay, this guy almost put up a quadruple double last night. We're not even talking about triple doubles anymore. Quadruple double, Anthony Davis. And this isn't the first time he's been doing it. He's been doing great games all season long. Had 43 points against Milwaukee the other night, averaging 24 points and 11 rebounds and like 3 blocks on the season. This guy's incredible. Without him on that team, New Orleans would be nowhere. This guy is single-handedly keeping his team in the playoff run. Anthony Davis. I've said it before and I'll say it again right now. In a couple years, Anthony Davis will be the best player in the NBA.
Hey, thanks for sticking with us through the show. The last little bit we have is just a little bit on ETSU. If you don't know, Murray Bartow has been told that he's not returning for the 2015-2016 season. So just 2 names that are surfacing. One is Barclay Radaball. He is currently the head men's coach at Charleston Southern. They're in the NIT right now, but his connection to ETSU is he actually was a grad assistant here for a while. So that's one of the connections that they're putting together. He's had pretty good success at Charleston Southern. They're actually in the NIT this year. So be looking for that. And the other one is Mike Morrill, who played basketball at Milligan and Elizabethton High School, both local to the ETSU area. So that's another name that could be looking at. And he's the assistant coach at VCU right now under Shaka Smart, so that could be interesting with the connection that ETSU's athletic director is from VCU, so there's that connection.
ETSU women's team, they've had a really good season. Last year, they finished 9-21. Coach Azell really turned this team around to bring them to 21-11 this year. Only had 3 losses in the SoCon. Almost came back and beat Chattanooga in the SoCon tournament final. They were down by as much as 23 in the second half. Almost came back and won that overtime, but just ran out of juice and just missed a tournament berth into the NCAA tournament, the big dance. But it was a great season for the ETSU Buccaneers women's team, and maybe some success again next year, but look out for the NIT showing